now all of a sudden cancellation seems to be the number one topic. I didn't get a satisfactory answer on that because I'm not sure anyone knows the definitive answer as to why that has become the case. Here's what seems to be the consensus. The conferences like the Big Ten and the Big 12, who were starting a little bit earlier, now are up against a place where their players were going into pants. What type of danger would that present, if any heightened risk? They've been able to keep their players, for the most part, the Power 5 level and what I guess would best be described as a quasi-bubble. Some students are starting to come back to campus, and the time frame has been a little condensed for those conferences who wanted to start in early September. The SEC, I think Pac-12 had a little bit longer runway, though the Pac-12 had some other extenuating circumstances that gives them problems. And that seems to be what has caused some of the presidents to get a little nervous about going on with the season. It's the fact that if they're going to have the season, they're going to start it in early September, first or second weekend, then they have to start practicing pads, and they're not sure that they're really ready to do that. There are a multitude of other issues, but if I did that, I would take up the rest of the time on the show. So at least for the top level, that seems to be the consensus among the people I talk to.
It's inexcusable as far as I'm concerned. College football deserves to be canceled. It's just an absolute disgrace, and it hurts me to say that because I love college football, and I love so many people associated with college football, but I abhor its leadership because they have none. Now, if you were the SEC, the Pac-12, the Big Ten, anybody else, and all you ever played was within your conference, then it would make more sense. But the fact that you know you compete outside your conference as well, to not have a game plan, something close to being universal, is just is inept and is inexcusable as it comes. This stuff has been going on since the year began. It really hit another level in February and, of course, early March once the NBA was canceled on March 11th. You've had all of these months, and they still don't have any kind of safety protocols or measures or what have you in place. And so, to me, it deserves its comeuppance. As far as I'm concerned, there needs to be something done to force and provoke leadership to ultimately be provided to the sport of college football and college basketball, I might add as well. It's just an absolute disgrace. There's no excuse for it. And as far as I'm concerned, they're getting exactly what they deserve. In the end, however, again, let's also understand what the colleges are doing here. If you don't have the students on campus, but the student athletes were to come on campus and play, then it enhances their employment status, and obviously they would be thinking along the lines of compensation. In order for college sports to hold on to amateurism per se, they got to make sure that the students are on campus as well as the student athletes, but you still don't have definitive safety measures and protocols in place. This stuff is embarrassing and inexcusable, and it's unfortunate that great guys like yourself, Rece, and others that love the sport, that do an exceptional job covering the sport, have to be subjected to this level of ineptitude that ultimately will cost this sport its season. I think it's inevitable that this sport is going to be canceled probably within the next 48 hours.
Well, a few things, Stephen A. For the first time, I am pessimistic about the possibility of playing the season, and that's a new position for me, and it's only happened over the last couple of days. I would differ with you on a couple of your points. First of all, I do agree with you about the leadership at the highest levels. The NCAA has been missing in terms of the leadership that they've given to college football. I would say, however, that I think that many of the conferences, the Power 5 conferences, have done a pretty good job in terms of committing resources and to testing, to creating the best bubble they can. I agree with you completely that just players on campus certainly enhances the idea and takes away the notion that they are just like every other student. They generate billions of dollars. We know that's not the case. But it's safer. Right now, and I'm intimately familiar with several programs, not only in football but others, in the way that they've implemented quasi-bubbles and the protocols that they are getting their players to follow. At least according to the guidelines that medical professionals have given all of us, I can't imagine them being in better situations in terms of limiting their risk. We can't eliminate the risk. No one can do that in society, but I think that the conferences and the schools and the medical professionals there have done a pretty good job. Does it eliminate the risk? Of course not.
I'm not talking about the schools.
We know the long-term implications. We don't know yet. Yeah.
Right.
No,
I didn't
right.
mean to imply that about individual schools. I was just talking about the overhead,
Yeah. Leadership has been lacking in terms of the NCAA in this for sure. There's no question about that.
Rece, I know you told Sports Illustrated a while back about your own experience as a parent with a son who played college sports at a very high level, Division I, and had a health scare on the field of play, and how that gave you a new kind of appreciation for taking ownership of your kind of career, so to speak, as a college athlete. What do you think of that said? What do you think of the fact that the players had to kind of stage this unity thing where they're asking the people who are supposed to be in charge to act like adults, to at least give them a set of consistent protocols? As a parent of an athlete at that level and who experienced that, what's your feeling about that?
I think it's well within their rights, and it's something they should have asked for. Sort of going along with what I said to Stephen A., I do think that there are a number of schools and conferences who are behaving that way and who are protecting the medical rights of the players as best they can. But I also think it is wise for the players to ask for third-party oversight. There is nothing, if you or I got sick, Max, we would not hesitate if we got a diagnosis to go and get a second opinion. And I think that having an unaffiliated medical board oversee the protocols that are being followed is well within reason and actually is quite wise, and is something that if we are to try to proceed in any way with sports, that it's probably a very wise thing to consider and to try to implement to protect the players as best we can.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.